What can you do to help in the Trump re-election campaign? Welcome, friends, to today's edition of the Patriot Network. This is David Schnitker, your co-host for today's program. Thanks for joining us. I am joined by my brother Richard, reporting from an underground bunker deep in the hills of Northern California. The purpose of the Patriot Network is to inform, encourage, and motivate you to become part of the over 5 million strong citizen army of volunteers who are on Team Trump. We want to inform and motivate patriots across America to wage an informational and activist crusade for the very survival of our constitutional republic. On Election Day, Tuesday, November 3rd, the fate of our nation will be decided. What we do collectively between now and then will determine the kind of country our children and grandchildren will inherit. We are literally in the fight of our lives. We are working together to re-elect Donald J. Trump so he can continue to drain the swamp and keep America great. Well, Richard, welcome back to the Patriot Network today.
Glad to be back with you, David. It's been a great day out here in California, warm and sunny. Okay.
I hear it's about 100 degrees out there in the Northern California hills.
It is a little warm today. It's 97 at 10 a.m. this morning.
Okay. Well, Richard, I understand that you have developed a Facebook page to support Team Trump. Tell us about your Facebook page.
The Facebook page is called The Patriot Nation. We posted a lot of videos. We've also had a couple events that we're hosting right now. We had an event on the 4th of July. I think I talked to you about the Trump flotilla on the Sacramento River.
Yes, we're going to be talking about that more in today's program, and of course talking about a future flotilla that will be very exciting for all of our friends in the Sacramento area. So on today's program, we're going to talk about two very different issues. On the positive side, we're going to share some very exciting upcoming events that our listeners can participate in to support Donald Trump's re-election. Then we're going to talk about how the Democrats are trying to steal the election or execute a coup against the president after his election. So let's get right to it. The first thing I want to talk about today are the dangers of mail-in ballots. It's very interesting. The Democrats are really pushing mail-in ballots. I think there are 15 states or so where it's legal. They're all Democrat-controlled states. They know they cannot win a fair fight, so they have to cheat. And one way they're pushing this cheat is the mail-in ballots. So let me share briefly from an article entitled America's Hidden Voting Epidemic, Mail Ballot Failures. And quoting from the author of this article, based on federal data from the U.S. Election Assistance Commission, millions of mail ballots were never counted as completed votes. If you vote by mail, in contrast to polling places, there's no one to help you and fix a mistake. Mail voting mistakes are fatal to your vote. Unsupervised mail ballots encourage vote buying, intimidating, and absentee ballot fraud, as previously seen in North Carolina, Mississippi, and Texas. A new report has revealed how vulnerable voting by mail can be. It should alarm all who are pushing for an all-mail election. And based on federal data from the U.S. Election Assistance Commission, millions of mail ballots were never counted as completed votes. This is otherwise known as ballot harvesting, where ballots are mailed out to all the voters, and sometimes Democrat operatives will go, let's say, to a nursing home. They will help the residents of the nursing home fill out the ballots, obviously voting for Democrat candidates. They'll harvest the ballots and then take them in to be counted. So, Richard, I believe in California they have mail-in ballots. How is that working?
Well, I don't think we have much of a choice here. The governor announced quite a few weeks ago, it might have been a month ago, that they're mailing out mail-in ballots. There was no discussion, no legislation, just his order. And so far, we haven't received anything. But yeah, it doesn't look like we have any choice. They're mail-in ballots, and that's the way it's going to be.
Well, I think they only mail the mail-in ballots to Democrat voters. Is that the way it works in California?
That must be the way it is, because we haven't received one. California is kind of a lost cause anyway, so it doesn't bother me that we're going to do it this way in California. But Trump lost California by 5 million votes in 2016. But
probably mostly mail-in ballots or illegal immigrants.
Right. Yeah, the thing about it to me is there's no legislation action at all on it. It was just a governor executive order. We're doing it this way, and that's the way it is. Tough.
Right. Well, the scary thing about it is, of course, the Democrats want national mail-in ballots so they can perpetrate fraud in all 50 states rather than just in the 15 Democrat-controlled states.
Well, of course, they can't win the way they are, especially with the new Vice President, Kamala Harris. There's no way. I just read an article this morning that only 1% or 1 out of 3 black voters support her. So there's a loss right there.
Oh, absolutely. So she's going to erode Biden's African-American base rather than bolster it.
Oh, yeah. She was one of the first ones to drop out of the primary, and what primary state she ran in, she only got 8% of the black vote. So the black people don't like her. They can tell she's a fraud. She's not an African-American. She's Jamaican. So, but back to the mail-in vote. Trump won 30 states. Clinton won 20. So we have, 15 states so far say they're going to do the mail-in ballots?
I think it's about 15.
Well, those are the states that Trump didn't carry anyway. So we're looking at the electoral vote. The popular vote doesn't mean anything. So we'll see where that goes.
Right. Well, let's talk about a positive subject. On the 4th of July, you promoted a very important and very successful event in Sacramento. And I understand first, we want to report on how that went, and then I want to report on what you are planning for September the 5th.
We had a boat flotilla on the Sacramento River, right in the belly of the beast, right where the capital of Sacramento is located, on the Sacramento River. And we had a really good turnout. I counted 188 boats, maybe a few hundred people lining the shorelines, the bridges, the walkways in Old Town Sacramento cheering us on. So and there were some big boats, 20, 40, 50-foot boats, all decorated up, as you can see in the video. But we had a really, really good turnout. So we had such a good turnout, we decided we're going to have one Labor Day weekend. And so far, we've got even more boats. We've got 252 boats saying that they're going to come, 2,178 interested in coming.
That's good.
So we had a flotilla, or not a flotilla, but a Trump caravan last weekend. Trucks and automobiles that traveled from Roseville, California to Albany, California, put on by Chelsea Joe Adams. Fantastic turnout. Fantastic. We had over 500 automobiles and trucks, probably about a 2-mile long caravan going from Roseville about 15 miles to Auburn. And then everybody met at a restaurant in Auburn and celebrated together. That's
great. Now, let me ask this. Were there BLM and Antifa protesters blocking the road?
No, we didn't have any. None at all. Now, at the Trump flotilla on the 4th of July, we did have about 20 Black Lives Matter holding signs about 20 feet from the river shore, standing in the shade of a big old oak tree.
I bet that was intimidating. So
it wasn't very intimidating. It was kind of funny, but it was a sad response, from their side.
They couldn't even launch a dinghy to come out and challenge you guys, huh?
No, it was quite humorous. One fellow with a big houseboat had huge speakers on the top, kept circling right in front of him, playing the song "Glad to Be an American," drowning out their megaphones.
That must have really tormented them.
So it was quite amusing.
That's great. Well, in a minute, we're going to talk about the September 5 Trump Caravan that is going to be held in Sacramento and also nationwide. But we'll just keep our listeners in suspense while I talk about this next article. We have an article from newstarget.com. It's entitled Alert, Marxist Group Planning a Political Coup in November in Preparation to Forcibly Remove a Victorious President Trump from Office. Let me just quote from this briefly. A new effort is underfoot to launch a second coup attempt against the president. Since no one was prosecuted for the first one, of course, we're talking about the Russian hoax and the Ukraine Gate hoax. Actually, I think there's been two coup attempts. But this article says a second coup attempt is in process, and that is a supposed bipartisan group called the Transition Integrity Project, which claims to be interested in ensuring that the 2020 election is fair and accurate, is really just a front for deep state operatives who are planning on the opposite. Let me talk about the details of this group. The Transition Integrity Project, the acrostic is TIP, appears to be another establishment-sanctioned offensive to nullify the Trump presidency akin to impeachment and the Russian collusion hoax. Now, however, TIP's paramount concern is President Trump's refusal to relinquish the presidency should Democrat candidate Joe Biden win, given the potential for a botched election resulting from mail-in ballots and coronavirus. The breathless media coverage of TIP in the last few days has hailed the group's bipartisanship. I'm sure they're bipartisan, but a national pulse investigation has found that the group is anything but. In reality, it's another globalist front comprised of Soros staffers linked to the Bill and Melinda Gates Foundation, and it appears to exist for the express purpose of backing Biden's claims to the White House in the event of a disputed election in November. The article goes on to say, the Biden campaign has already hired or retained some 600 lawyers, which officials claim are on board to prevent Trump from stealing the election, but who are in reality planning on stealing it for Biden. So here we have this Soros and Bill Gates backed organization with the deceptive name of the Transition Integrity Project, and they're going to try to steal the election after Trump wins it via 600 Democrat-paid lawyers. So this is just another example of how the Democrats cannot win fairly, and so they're going to try to steal it with mail-in ballots. If that doesn't work, then they're going to release 600 lawyers to tie up the courts to try to force Trump out of office. But we, the people, are not going to allow that to happen. But it's always good to know what the enemy's plans are. All right, well, let's transition back again to the positive side of things, the Patriot side of things. You mentioned, Richard, that you recently went to a Trump caravan. I understand that there is a national Trump caravan that's planned for the near future. Give us the details.
Yeah, there's a nationwide Trump caravans September 5th in every state capital across the United States. You can find more information on Twitter account Ghost Storm 143, and I think we'll put a banner up to give you that information.
Yes, we'll put a banner up with the program.
And that's also the same day that we're going to have our second Trump flotilla on the Sacramento River. So far, we've got a larger crowd. We've got 252 boats going, over 2,170 interested in going. And we're going to team up with Chelsea Adams' event, the car caravan that was held last weekend. So that group is going to go down to the state capitol, drive around the capitol a few times, and then come over to Sacramento and cheer the boat parade on.
Now, is it true? I mean, I've heard the rumor, Richard, that Gavin Newsom is going to be the master of ceremonies for the Trump caravan that will be circling the state capitol. Is that true that he's going to be riding in the lead car in this Trump caravan?
Well, I sent him an email and I gave him a choice. He could either ride in my boat, the lead boat, in the Trump flotilla, or he could ride in the lead car in the caravan. And I haven't heard anything back from him for some reason. So,
well, I'm sure it's a tough decision for him as to whether he wants to ride in the lead car of the Trump caravan or in the lead boat of the Trump Freedom Flotilla. So
right, and I told him, I said, now you can announce that your presidential run for Trump 24 against Joe
Biden,
one of the Trump children.
Oh, okay, all right.
Either Ivanka or Donald Trump Jr.
Yes. Well, that would certainly be an opportunity for him to hog the microphone and use that event to launch his 2024 campaign. So he
still has his hourly. I think the other day it was 2 hours long. This guy never stops talking. Every day at noon he's on TV. The coronavirus.
It's been great for his career. Is he still trying to invent new ways to make Californians miserable over this coronavirus?
He hasn't actually declared mandatory mask in the state of California, but he changes his mind every week. One day it's you can open the restaurants, the next day you can open the bowling alleys, but close the restaurants. I think the man just likes being on TV.
Yes, and of course you've heard that he's also crusading against churches and pastors, trying to arrest pastors for the audacity of holding church services, without his permission.
Right. Well, I actually went to a service a few weeks ago that was nationwide news. It was on BuzzFeed, Yahoo, MSN, that the pastor said, sorry, we're opening, and if you don't like it, come arrest us. Well, they had 3 services, over 2,000 people at each service. Everything went smooth, and you didn't hear a peep out of it from the media after that. Not a word.
Yep. Well, there's a large church in Los Angeles, Grace Community Church, where the courageous pastor, John MacArthur, he said, you'll have to arrest me. I'm not shutting it down. We've got 3,000 people coming to our church services. And so he sued the state of California, the governor, attorney general, etc., and he won. And so he is able now to legally exercise his First Amendment right, as well as his parishioners, despite what Emperor Newsom is commanding. Now, whether he'll be able to, have services without masks or with, of course, singing is off limits to Governor Newsom too.
Yeah, no singing.
Yeah, he doesn't like singing, and of course, if you do sing, you better sing softly and make sure you have your triple masks on, so none of these coronaviruses will get out while you're singing the Hallelujah chorus.
Right, but you can protest in riot in San Francisco and Los Angeles with 20,000 people on the street screaming Black Lives Matter, but don't be singing in the church.
No, absolutely. The virus doesn't show up for the BLM, but it does show up when it comes to churches and people singing. That's definitely it's a super spreader, as they say.
Yeah, it's just funny how the media will condemn the church openings all across the country, and when they go ahead and happen and have thousands of people there, you don't hear a word about it. It's quiet.
Right. They don't
want anybody to know that actually people went and nothing happened.
Right. Nobody got sick. Nobody died.
Nobody got arrested.
Right. Yeah, they don't want that to happen.
They don't want anybody to know that. So they just condemn it before it happens and then not a word afterwards.
Yes.
So there was actually one last weekend in Huntington Beach. Over 5,000 people showed up at a church service. Oh, this was hilarious. I forget which city this was in. You can go into Walmart. Walmart's been open since day one through the COVID-19.
Oh, absolutely.
Well, this church decided they were going to have their service inside the Walmart store.
Why not?
It was just fantastic. Singing and praying and the preacher all in the aisles of Walmart. There must have been hundreds of people in there holding a church service. That was just fantastic.
Perfect.
That's what we got to do. Fight them.
Right. Absolutely. All right. Well, here's my last article. This also has to do with the attempted coup that's yet to await President Trump if he has the audacity to actually win an election legally. And this one is entitled, "Retired Army Officers Echo the Democratic Coup. The military must forcibly remove Trump if he loses the election." So let me quote briefly from this. A pair of retired Army officers claimed that President Trump won't voluntarily step down from office if he loses the upcoming election and will have to be physically removed by the military. Physically. So here are these two quacky retired Army officers. One is named John Nagy, a lifetime Council on Foreign Relations member, and Colonel Paul Yingling published a letter to the Joint Chiefs of Staff, General Mark Milley, asking him to order the military to remove Trump from office if he loses the election.
The only thing the military are going to do is arrest these two guys and put them down in Guantanamo.
Yes. So let me quote from this letter that these two former Army officers wrote to Joint Chief Staff Mark Milley. He says, "We write to assist you in thinking clearly about that choice. If Donald Trump refuses to leave office at the expiration of his constitutional term, the United States military must remove him by force, and you must give that order." The two retired Army officers then claimed that Trump will almost certainly face electoral defeat in November, but he won't step down because he will also be facing criminal charges for his China coronavirus response and the economic fallout from the lockdowns. So here these two retired junior officers are commanding Chief of Staff General Milley to mobilize the troops what does Hillary have on them? It's it could be their name might be on the flight list to Epstein Island. That could be. You never know.
Yeah,
you never know.
Somebody's blackmailing these two guys. I'm surprised Colonel Vindman didn't sign that letter.
You would think Vindman would be weighing in on this too. So here you've got this, and you have Pelosi echoing it, and all the Democrat leaders. Schumer is now the new rumor and narrative is that Trump will not relinquish the office after he's defeated, and that the military is going to have to intervene and physically drag him out of the White House.
The desperation with these people is just unbelievable. Gosh, they make up one thing after another.
And they accuse us of conspiracy theories.
I know. This stuff is just insanity.
It really is.
They have to keep their base, scared to death that Trump's a dictator and Trump's never going to leave office. And they're just playing to the base. They're the fearful leftists.
Well, part of this, they say that Trump has a secret army that's going to keep him in power after he's defeated. And of course, he would definitely be defeated. So he's got a secret army that's going to keep him in power, and it's going to turn into like a third world military dictatorship, like General Noriega.
Right. Oh, I see. Well, I don't think he has a secret army. It's pretty obvious. Just look out the window and look at the Trump flags, the Trump parades, the Trump flotillas across the countries, the caravans. We're not in hiding in secret.
It's not secret at all. It's not secret at all.
There's millions of us. That's his army. We're the Trump army.
Yes. Well, let's our final feature or issue I want you to talk about today, Richard. There's a new grassroots campaign called the National Flag Drop Campaign, and this is for people who don't have boats. Maybe they don't even have cars that can participate in a caravan, but this is a campaign that every freedom-loving American can participate in. Talk to us about the National Flag Drop Campaign.
Well, they have a Facebook called Trump Flag Drop. To participate, all you have to do is take a picture of you wherever you were at holding a Trump flag. It can be in the park, it can be the zoo, it can be on top of a building, from your car, from your boat, and just post a picture of you holding your Trump flag. Like I said, it can be anywhere, in your house, your garage, your parachute. But it's an amusing, and it's also a very supportive group of patriots across the United States.
So is it a way for people to arrange meetups, to bring their American flags and their Trump campaign flags, et cetera, to meet maybe like on a street corner or on a bridge?
Right. You can meet on bridges. There's different events people share on the page. Overpasses for Trumps, this big one that's going around now. The flotillas, the boat flotillas, also the caravans. But this page pretty much covers all of it. So it's just called Trump Flag Drop.
Okay, and we'll put those banners for all three of these types of events on our website. I think in some, wouldn't you agree that what we're seeing as we approach the last phase of this general election, that we're about 2.5 months out at this point, is that the American people have just about had it. They have thoroughly had it with all the lies against our president, the overblown lockdown, the collapse of our economy, the BLM rioters, and basically Trump supporters are saying we are going to take it to the streets now. We are going to, in a peaceful way, express our love for God, our love for country, our love for our president, whether we do it on the waterways via flotilla, whether we do it on the roadways via the Trump caravans, whether we do it on the bridges or on the street corners. We are going to hit the streets now and let America know that we are behind our president and what he is attempting to do to make America great again. Would you say that this is the kind of grassroots thing that we're seeing erupting all over the country?
Yeah, I've never seen anything like this before. This is grassroots organizations. These are local people that are organizing these events. I've never seen this kind of support for the president before. You know, they shut down the rallies, and the people decided, well, we're going to have our own rallies. So every weekend there's events across the country, and the support for our president. It's growing by the day. The events are growing by the day, all the way up into to the election. Black Lives Matter. They got out on the streets. They protested. We stood up and we fought back, not physically. We fought back by showing up on the streets also peacefully, not burning, robbing, looting. So we're showing the difference from one side to the other. The Biden side, the riots, the burning, the shootings, the killings. The Trump side, the peaceful American patriots.
You know, it's almost as if the American haters want to foment a second civil war. But the American lovers are basically responding with a second American revolution. In other words, a peaceful revolution. We want freedom, we want liberty, we want prosperity, we want the kinds of things that the Declaration of Independence says, life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness. And we are willing to take to the streets in a peaceful, loving manner to express that we are with the founders. We believe in life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness. We are not going to allow these American haters, these Marxists, these communists to steal our country away. We are willing to go to the streets to preserve our liberties. I see this as a second American Revolution.
It is. It's the Gideon flag. We're saying, do not tread on me. You do your riot, your peaceful protest, but the minute you bring it to our neighborhood, the minute you get violent, the minute you burn our businesses, do not tread on me.
Right.
We will not put up with it. We will stand up against you.
And we are seeing that around the country. As these BLM and Antifa types go into suburbs and neighborhoods, they are met by very determined residents who say, you're coming into the wrong neighborhood, you get out now or we will give you a beat down. And they are giving them a beat down.
And they're leaving, and they're not coming back. Oh, I saw, and this is hilarious. Well, it's hilarious because it's from the left. Everything they do is hilarious. They were demanding, and they were marching through the streets, the suburbs of Seattle, demanding that they give their houses up and open their wallets and give their houses up. Well, you know what happened. That wasn't met very good.
Right.
So they're pushing it.
Right.
But the American patriots, the hardworking man, are pushing back and pushing him out of their neighborhoods.
Right. If we give into this, we are going to lose everything. This is a Maoist cultural revolution. They will take everything if we don't stand up to them. And I think finally the American people have been pushed too far, and they say, you know what? Over my dead body, you're going to take.
And that's great.
Yeah, that's what we need to have happen. So I'm seeing very positive things with the things that we've talked about: the flotilla, the caravans, the flag drop campaign. This is really collectively the American people standing up and saying, "Not on my watch."
Right. This is our way of protesting peacefully.
Right. Absolutely. And we will not allow these Marxist God haters, American haters, to destroy our country that our forefathers fought and died for. So
they pushed and they awoke the sleeping giant, and we're on the streets.
Right.
We're not sitting down anymore. We're on the streets, and we're in their face.
Right.
And it shows, which I would predict it, they are starting to back down.
Right. Because there are more of us than there are of them.
A lot more of us. And we're the tough guys.
Right. We are.
We actually have jobs. We don't live in our parents' basement, play video games all day.
Right. And many, like yourself, are veterans, military veterans who fought for our country. Many are injured because of that. They know how to fight. They know how to use weapons. They know how to face down an enemy. And that's what they have awakened.
Right, 25 million veterans on the streets, and they will awaken a giant that they don't want to mess with.
Right. Well, they're messing with us now, and they have awakened us. And I think between now and the election, we're going to see a lot more grassroots activities by people who actually love this country. And it should be an interesting time.
It is. It's an interesting time. It's an exciting time. And it's going to be a glorious victory on November 3rd.
Absolutely. Well, Richard, thanks for joining us. I think we're out of time for today.
Thank you, David.
Remind our listeners about your Facebook page and the all-important text for those who want to volunteer for Team Trump.
Yes, my Facebook page is the Patriot Network. And to volunteer for Trump, just text Trump at 88022.
Trump 88022, and you were telling me off the air that the Trump team is mobilized and are knocking on 1 million doors a week.
Yes, I got an email from Team Trump last week. We're knocking on 1 million doors a week. That's just unbelievable amount. Plus the telephone banks that we're setting up. Well, also here, it's a Trump 2020 app. You can get it at the App Store, at the Play Store. It has a daily briefing on what the Trump campaign is doing for the re-election bid. Also, what Trump has been doing for the last 24 hours. So it's a very informative, very good app. That's the app that we're going to use on Election Day to get out the vote. So Trump 2020 app, download it. You'll enjoy it.
So unlike Basement Biden, Trump actually has a campaign.
Yeah, I haven't seen any Biden signs out. I haven't seen anything. I don't know if Biden even has a campaign.
Yeah, I don't think he has any infrastructure. He certainly does not have a massive army of volunteers like Trump does.
No, all he's got is Kamala Harris that signed on the other day, and all that did is drop his poll numbers by another 10 points.
Yeah.
He won't answer questions. His press conferences, they don't last over, I think it was 6 minutes is the longest one he's had in the last few months, and
right.
then no questions.
Yeah, he just comes out of the basement.
He has no campaign. Yeah, he has no campaign. Well, it's basically Trump, haters, or me. You know, that's his campaign. We hate Trump.
That's it.
Yeah.
And insiders, just as a final note, insiders who actually work in the Biden campaign are very, very worried because he is declining dramatically.
Right. I've heard that. Dan Bongino was talking about that the other day.
Right. He can hardly read off a teleprompter anymore. His cognitive decline is very worrisome to the Democrat leadership. They don't know what to do. They don't know.
They said they don't know if he'll make it to November 3rd, and he's promised 3 debates, which there's no way his first debate he's done. He can't stand on the stage and answer questions for 3 hours.
Right. They will invent every excuse in the world to keep him off the debate stage. You just watch.
They will. Yeah, they'll try to get it down to 1 debate or no debates. You see the left-wing media saying there's no need for a debate. Let's just vote. You know. Right. They're scared to death. They know what they have, and so do the rest of the Americans.
Right. So the reality is Kamala Harris will be the next president if they steal this election.
Correct.
Because they're going to put Biden in the basement, and that evil Kamala Harris will be our next president.
Right.
So those are the stakes.
Yep. And then the Congress will probably appoint Hillary Clinton as vice president.
Yep. There you go.
Yeah, there's a team for you.
There you go. What a scary future if we don't get involved.
Oh, yeah.
All right. Well, we'll let you go for this time. We'll be back again with some more exciting news about Team Trump. So, Richard, thanks for joining me today.
Oh, thank you very much. And I'll talk to you after the Labor Day weekend. I'll let you know how the 2 different events in California State Capital Sacramento went.
That'll be great. Well, friends, thank you for joining us for today's podcast. I look forward to seeing you next time. Until then, this is David Schnitker. Thanks for listening.